Viewer discretion is advised.
Man shoots wife dead, then commits suicide in front of onlookers. An unhinged gunman confronted his wife on a lower Manhattan street Monday and shot her twice in the head in front of horrified onlookers before turning the weapon on himself in a broad daylight murder-suicide that stunned the city's usually quiet financial district. Bursts of noisy gunfire sent shocked passers-by racing for cover shortly before 9:30 a.m. at Morris Street and Trinity Place in a business-dominated neighborhood where wanton violence is extremely rare. The 46-year-old shooter, believed to be from Canada and identified by police sources as Zin Yu, was wearing a hat when he squared up to his 40-year-old wife and shot her 2 times in the head before blasting himself in the chest, officials said. The woman died at the scene, police said. A woman told the Daily News she was walking to the Rector Street subway station with her headphones on and didn't hear the shots, but that did not stop her from trying to help. She said when construction workers got her attention, she realized what happened and called 911. The mortally wounded shooter was still holding on to the large, menacing semi-automatic pistol, according to the woman who declined to give her name. She said a pedestrian passing by didn't want to get involved, so she stepped in. I took the gun from his hand while he was still breathing, the quick-thinking woman told the news. I just did it to be safe. I took it really quick and put it on the ground next to my foot. Her clever maneuver meant she had to have her fingerprints taken by cops so she could be eliminated as a suspect. I just did what needed to be done to make sure no one else got hurt, she said. I really didn't think about it. Medics rushed the shooter to Lower Manhattan Hospital where he died. Streets around the scene near the Hugh Carey Tunnel were closed for hours as police conducted an investigation. Officials said they did not immediately know what led up to the shooting. The murder-suicide comes as the city grapples with a surge of shootings and homicides, but the financial district has been largely untouched by the increase in violent crimes. Cannibal porn star featured in Netflix Don't F With Cats could be released due to COVID-19 outbreak. Netflix cannibal porn star Luca Magnotta could be freed from jail after 10 of his fellow inmates have been diagnosed with coronavirus. The infamous Don't F With Cats killer is currently being held for first-degree murder at Port Cartier Prison in Quebec, Canada. Magnotta, 37, was locked up for the death of his boyfriend Jun Lin, as well as charges for killing cats in 2014. The former escort and porn star murdered his boyfriend in June 2012 before mailing parts to schools and political parties.
The first package, containing what appeared to be a human hand, was opened by staff at Falls Creek Elementary School after 1 p.m. today. Another package containing what appeared to be a human foot was found by staff at St. George's School later this afternoon. I can't link it to anything right now. As we progress in the investigation, we will provide as much information as we can.
He also filmed himself eating his victim and abusing cats. He was captured later in 2012 while reading about his crimes at an internet cafe in Berlin. 10 inmates and 16 officers in the jail have tested positive for the fatal coronavirus, according to the Daily Mail. Government medical professionals released an open letter earlier this month stating they want as many inmates as possible to be released. The letter read, "Conditions are crowded. Prisoners share cells. They must be frisked and handcuffed by officers, line up daily for medication, share common spaces in dining halls, and use the same telephones and washrooms." They also lack access to some of the critical supplies people in the community are using to keep themselves safe, such as hand sanitizer, cleaning products, and sometimes soap. However, According to the outlet, the Union of Canadian Correctional Officers said that releasing prisoners would not solve the spread of coronavirus and would only increase the risk to the public. Magnotta claims he was framed for the murder by someone named Manny, according to the Daily Mail. The prison has 243 cells in 3 blocks, 30 of which are reserved for long-term inmates. Magnotta was sentenced to life in prison but will be eligible for parole after 20 years. He married another convicted inmate at the prison in 2017, according to Esquire. His former girlfriend Barbie Swallows told the Daily Mail, "He knows the difference between right and wrong. He deliberately murdered an innocent victim and those sweet little kittens. I hope the coronavirus finds him in prison. He has no remorse for what he did and only cares about himself." Netflix Don't F with Cats tells the story of Magnotta's horrific crimes. It was listed as one of Netflix's top 5 most watched documentaries of 2019. Russian cannibal ate his girlfriend's brain and washed it down with her blood. A Russian man turned into a cannibal and vampire after endlessly reading about ritualist serial killers on the internet, a court was told. Olga Budanova, 45, was brutally killed by her toy boy lover Dmitry Luchin, 21, smashing a wine bottle over her head 25 times before dismembering her body with a meat cleaver. He then roasted her brain, ate it while drinking her blood, and tore out her insides, cops say. The court heard that former army conscript Luchin was sane and fit to stand trial. He had carefully planned the ritualistic cannibalistic murder after becoming obsessed with reading about serial killers on the web, claimed prosecutors. The alleged maniac admitted to police that he got sexual pleasure from the attack. He had the intelligence of a philosopher and told the police he carried out the killing to get inspiration to write poetry. The grotesque murder came when he went to the victim's flat in Valdai for romantic drinks to mark International Women's Day, a major public holiday in Russia, the court heard. After killing her, he used blood from her cracked skull to daub a sign of the devil on a door, said Alexandra Dedova, 21, a witness to the crime scene and Luchin's initial police interrogation. She said, "He wanted to summon the devil. He waited for 5 minutes, but the devil did not appear. Next, he took the meat cleaver and smashed her skull to the brain. He cut pieces out of her brain. He roasted and ate them. He then poured a glass of her blood and drank." Luchin told police, "I liked the taste of her brain. I decided to give it another try. Then I drained some of her blood into a glass." Prosecutor Olga Bodarenko said Luchin copied the actions of a ritual murder carried out by a serial killer which he had read about online. This turned him into a killer and cannibal. He was especially obsessed with Jeffrey Dahmer, known as the Milwaukee Cannibal. Dahmer raped, murdered, and dismembered 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. Dedova said, next he cut out her stomach and chopped off her ears. One he put into her mouth, the other into the cat's bowl. It is normal in Russia for an independent witness to be invited to a crime scene to confirm that police did not tamper with evidence. Luchin had appealed for the trial to be held behind closed doors, but the judge refused. He subscribed to an online site called World of Maniacs and Serial Killers, say prosecutors. Luchin said he is not a maniac, murderer, or cannibal. He said he is instead a student, athlete, and poet, and also asked the judge to acquit him because an innocent man should not go to jail. The performance was apparently insufficient to convince the judge. The young man was sentenced to 19 years in prison for murder and desecration of a body. A Texas family is calling for justice after a young mother of 2 was brutally murdered in Mexico, where her body was found with multiple signs of torture last week. Lisbeth Flores, 23, was covered in bruises and all of her teeth were missing when authorities found her body next to a large rock in the Mexican city of Matamoros, which is directly across from the border from Brownsville, where she lived with her family, according to reports. The woman was reported missing on August 10th after failing to return from Mexico, where her family said she had gone to find her boyfriend. Local news station KRGV reported. I kept calling her to find out where she was and why she hadn't gotten home, and I couldn't sleep all night because I was waiting for her, Flores' mother told the ABC affiliate in Spanish. The grief-stricken mother, who asked not to be named, said she called the Brownsville Police Department but did not get any help. Her daughter was found dead the following day. The family believes she was extorted, kidnapped, and then murdered by a violent gang that operates in Matamoros. I want everyone who participated in her death to pay, Flores' mother told Telemundo. The FBI has joined the investigation because Flores was a U.S. citizen. Cannibal killer who ate 30 victims with his wife dies in prison. A cannibal who allegedly sold his victims' bodies in meat pies has died in jail, leaving unanswered questions over dozens of alleged victims. Dmitry Vakshiv, 38, was one half of a notorious killer couple with his wife Natalia. They were suspected of killing and eating 30 people. The pair were convicted of just one 2017 killing. Elena Vashrusheva, a 35-year-old waitress whose body parts were found in their fridge. Slices of her body were also found in a frying pan and on their stove in their home in Krasnodar, Russia. Vakshiv, nicknamed the Devil, sentenced to 12 years in a strict regime penal colony, died in jail after losing an appeal into his conviction for murder and cannibalism. The cause of death was not disclosed. His spouse Natalia Vakshiv is serving an 11-year sentence after her earlier conviction. Initial media reports citing law enforcement sources claim the couple between them had some 30 victims spanning 18 years and also kept meat from dead dogs and cats. Reports say Natalia made and sold pies from suspected human meat and even supplied local restaurants. They lured victims from dating websites and sold meat at the military academy where they lived, it was alleged. The wife was convicted of provoking her husband to murder the waitress who allegedly flirted with him during a drinking session. She testified that her husband put the body parts in the bathroom, cut the skin off the skull, severed the ears and lips with his teeth, and ate them. He also posed for pictures with body parts. Sickening images show how the couple allegedly preserved some human meat in jars. A disturbing photograph, December 1999, appeared to show a severed human head with a lemon placed on the nose and cartoon eye stickers placed over the eyes. During the investigation, a sinister picture was released by law enforcement from the couple's collection, apparently depicting the severed head of a man in 1999. The authorities later claimed there was no evidence beyond the stabbing and dismembering of the waitress, but this sparked claims of a cover-up. Criminal lawyer Dr. Yulia Fedotova claimed the murder and slicing up of the waitress's body was carried out by a skilled butcher who had previous experience. If Vakshiv was a novice killer, as law enforcement claimed, she asked how he knew how to expertly cut off the head and gouge out the heart while dismembering other body parts. If the couple were not cannibals, why were the woman's body parts expertly preserved in the couple's fridge and freezer, she asked. How could Vakshiv, who was never convicted before and who was not a butcher or surgeon, manage to do all this alone and just within several hours? She also highlighted that police had shown the couple dozens of pictures of missing people suspected of being linked to the case. Several sources suggested the authorities did not want to allow a scandal at the prestigious military academy where the couple lived. Investigative newspaper Novaya Gazeta also queries the strong inconsistencies in the case, but investigators insisted that the couple only met in 2012, so they could not have jointly engaged in cannibal acts before this. They questioned the authenticity of the 1999 picture.